Dear students, let us begin with the third part of the lesson on India's engagement with the US in the globalized world, in which we will learn about the civil nuclear cooperation. Civil nuclear cooperation. The bilateral civil nuclear cooperation agreement was finalized in July 2007 and signed in October 2008. During Prime Minister Modi's visit to the United States in September 2014, both countries set up a contact group to advance the full and timely implementation of the India-US Civil Nuclear Cooperation Agreement and to resolve the pending issues. Culminating a decade of partnership on civil nuclear issues, the two sides have started the preparatory work on site in India for 6 AP1000 reactors to be built by Westinghouse. Once completed, the project would be among the largest of its kind. The Nuclear Power Corporation of India Limited and Westinghouse are in talks towards finalizing the contractual arrangements and addressing related issues. India's focus on nuclear energy is driven by the need to diversify its energy sources, enhance energy security and reduce greenhouse gas emissions. By 2030, India aims to produce around 40,000 megawatts of nuclear energy, significantly expanding its nuclear capacity. Nuclear generation is attracting countries to increase the diversity of their energy supplies, improve energy security and provide a low carbon alternative to fossil fuels. India is trying to expand its nuclear capacity significantly over the next 25 years. It is presently able to produce about 3% nuclear energy. Its requirements of energy by 2052 indicate that the total installed capacity will have to be about 1350 gigawatts and the total generation about 8000 terawatt. Of this, the coal and hydrocarbon contributions would have gone down to 47 and 16% respectively and hydropower to 8%. The nuclear component is required to go up to 26%. The nuclear supplier group, which treated India in the past 3 decades as a pariah, agreed to trade nuclear commerce with the latter. India's main focus on nuclear energy is not only to meet the demands, but also to mitigate its greenhouse gas emissions. It is one of the main countries in the world which is concerned to reduce carbon dioxide emissions. It wants to reduce its dependency on other countries for its energy needs, particularly for oil from the Middle East. It is expected that oil will be available for about 40 to 60 years, whereas gas for 100 years. If this is going to be the reality, then India, which depends heavily on imports, should explore alternatives to secure its energy needs, that is, nuclear energy. High prices for fossil fuels allow nuclear power to become economically competitive with generation from coal, natural gas and liquids, despite the relatively high capital and maintenance costs associated with nuclear power plants. The US was instrumental in making India a part of nuclear supply group. Apart from these efforts, India tried to expand its energy trade with other gas suppliers. India and Pakistan had signed a memorandum of understanding in July 1993 to explore the prospects of a natural gas pipeline from Iran to India via Pakistan. However, due to differences that erupted between the US and Iran, the former insisted and suggested importing gas from Turkmenistan instead of Iran gas pipeline. Here it is observed that India's choice was curtailed by the US through nuclear energy cooperation. India needs to be careful that it does not get carried away by the United States influence. Iran, having historically closer links with India. The latter should make efforts for energy trade with Iran. Let us summarize what we have discussed so far in this lesson. Forging strategic partnership is a major step in Indo-US relations. The safety of sea lanes of communication is a vital long-term importance to both countries. The Indian Navy within the Indian security establishments regards the US as an inevitable partner in maintaining the freedom of sea lanes. Joint naval exercises, port calls, visits and exchanges help in building joint military capacities for future interoperability between the two countries. Both have an interest in unimpeded commerce on the high seas. This interest extends to maintaining stability and security in the maritime domain, which is essential for their economic growth. However, India must offer assurance to its neighbors, particularly China and Russia, that its relationship with the United States is not directed against anyone. As a responsible state in shaping new Asia, India needs to strengthen its relations with its neighbors. India's historical commitment to an independent foreign policy, as demonstrated by its non-aligned stance during the Cold War, underscores the need for a delicate equilibrium between its burgeoning global partnerships, such as its alliance with the United States, and the preservation of its core principles and autonomy in foreign affairs. Rajiv Sikri maintains, I quote, "If India expects to ever make it as a permanent member of the United Nations Security Council, it will be not so much because the existing permanent members of the Security Council, but because the Third World wants India to represent it in the United Nations Security Council." End quote. India should look at global capabilities because intentions can change tomorrow. The US may change its policy due to circumstances in the future. In the end, it is to be noted that while strengthening its relations with the US, India should not ignore its relations with its neighbors, mostly South Asian countries or China or Russia, because one can choose friends but not neighbors. I hope you understood India's engagement with the US in the globalized world. We have concluded our lesson. Thank you.